Welcome back, everybody. We got a lot to get into today, but I believe you wanted to say something before we got into it.
Yes, as you can, and as anyone watching this can tell, I'm wearing a Braves jersey. I'm wearing a Braves spring training hat. Um, Spring training is right around the corner. We're recording this 5 minutes till midnight on Tuesday. So, literally, as of right now, it's still tomorrow, but tomorrow is when pitchers and catchers report. We made it to baseball season. Not to say like just for me personally, that is a great way to go and keep my mind occupied until it's back to college football, right? It's college
Mm-hmm.
football, and then it's and then it's Braves baseball. Those are my top two sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
So helps me get through the off season, especially when I'm getting to cuss out Mets fans. Anyways,
Yeah.
on into our actual topics for today.
Yeah. Um. Obviously, the big news: Nick Saban has officially signed a deal with ESPN College Gameday. This begs the question, right? I know there was some talks when the playoffs rankings were released, right? Did ESPN, did the committee know that this was going to be Saban's last year? Did they try and fit them in the playoffs because it was his last year? This adds some validity to that. I'm not saying it's confirmed, obviously, but it adds a little bit of validity, right? Did they know? When did he sign this contract? It's official now. But obviously, it's huge for game day, right? To get
oh yeah,
away from
no
the,
doubt.
the tinfoil hats of conspiracy in college football. There's so much, obviously, as we learned last episode with PJ Fleck. But um, obviously, this is huge for game day. Obviously, Nick Saban's very knowledgeable about the sport, and
Yep.
obviously, they've had him on um, during the national championship 2 years ago, or yeah, a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, he's on the Pat McAfee show a lot. So obviously nothing new to him, and I think he'll do good. I think it'll be
Yeah.
nice. It'll be
Yeah.
definitely a change of pace. So I'm going to enjoy watching him personally.
I can't. I'll tell you what I can't wait for. I can't wait for the draft, right? Because game day
Mm,
they cover the draft now. So I would love to see Nick Saban as he's breaking down like all these, all these guys he's either coached against and like hearing his actual like so I he's going to be there. I would assume he's going to be there for especially for the first round. So, and Brock Bowers, first round
mm-hmm.
talent, we all know it. He's probably arguably the greatest collegiate football tight end of all time. Say, like, whether or not, like, what his thoughts were going into a game and how to defend that man, or if he even thought there, well, like, it was okay, try your best to do this, or what it was, right? Just like
Right,
I also can't wait for him to go and break down Jaden Daniels. I can't wait for his take on Caleb Williams.
right,
Dallas Turner, one of his own guys. Yeah, right.
yeah.
So
Chris Braswell, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean, hearing his opinion on these guys, I can't wait for the draft because I'm kind of a stat nerd, right? And
right,
that's not even like stat wise, but it's like I love hearing all like someone like Nick Saban, a wise old coach like him, who's seen it all, and I cannot wait to hear his takes on all of these different players. It's going to be fun. I truly believe that. So
right. I mean, do you think he's going to kind of take that Lee Corso role on game day? I mean, listen, I grew up on College Game Day, right? I grew up on Lee Corso and the headgear, and that was the most exciting part of a Saturday, right?
yep,
But it has been hard to watch
it has been.
him on game day, especially this year. It's been hard.
So I was I was actually talking with my dad about this the day all this broke, and I told him straight up, this is going to replace half of Corso, half of
Yeah.
prime Corso.
Right.
Not necessarily the Corso we have right now. Like the Toby Keith song once said, he ain't as good as he once was. It is what it is. He's still Coach Corso. He's still an icon in the collegiate football ranks. But he's older, and it is what it is. He's still doing it. He still wants to do it. He still thinks he can do it. Is it kind of? I'm not going to say sad, but it's not the same as it used to be. But him, Kirk Herbstreit, who we're going to talk about later. A lot happened in between the last episode and this episode, so we do have to go and talk about that. But Kirk is still adamant that Coach Corso is as sharp as ever. So it is what it is. But the way I viewed it is Pat McAfee is like that. Is like the very energetic, fun-loving half of Corso that you got, cracking jokes and all that. Whereas Saban is going to go and represent like the wizened old coach, with the coaching experience and the history of the game, right?
Right.
And that's not to say that Coach Saban isn't funny or that Pat doesn't know what he's talking about. That's not lambasting either one. That's not trying to take a shot at either one. They're both on there for a reason, right? So it is what it is. But, neither one of them are going to be Corso. It takes... Corso was one of a kind. Still is one of a kind. So, who knows? We don't know yet who's going to replace who. And for all we know, they could call in David Pollock again to come in and replace Corso once Corso decides to retire. Anyways, but all that being said, moving on from Saban to one of his associates, former associates, Bill O'Brien. This was just insanity, right? He's named the OC of Ohio State. And then, like, not even 2-3 days later, it felt like all of a sudden you heard these rumblings. Oh, Boston College is fixing to tab him as their next head coach. And it's like, no. But then it happened. And over the past week, he's now the new head coach for Boston College, which is just, hey, good for him. And some people have joked about this hire. Oh, look at what he did. Look at what he did. He did pretty well over at Penn State when he was there.
Yes.
Granted, different situation, but he did really well over there, especially with the situation they were kind of coming out of and involved with. So, I think for Boston College, this was actually a pretty solid hire.
Yeah. I mean, you know me. I hate Bill O'Brien as a coach. All right.
He ruined the Texans.
He did.
But that was as a general manager.
This is true.
With his actions as general manager, while he was also the head coach, because of actions as general manager, he lost the locker room as a coach.
Right.
And then it was just downhill from there. There was no recovering from it. So,
and if I might say, to play devil's advocate, right, being a college football head coach is very similar to being a GM in the NFL.
Kind of.
It's a lot of player personnel decisions and recruiting, and I mean, you're bringing people in, you're cutting guys, it's on you. You're making the decisions about the team and its personnel, right? Like you said, obviously at Penn State he did good. Very, very different situation. And obviously it was hard to come in as the head coach at Penn State following the disaster that preceded that.
Sandusky people.
Um,
We're talking about Sandusky.
yeah,
Go ahead and get it out in there.
yeah,
Travesty. And sorry for dropping the F word, but that's what it was.
yeah. It was, and it was a shame, but he did good following that. So, I mean, he's proven he can kind of be a good college football head coach. And coaching college football is much different than coaching in the NFL.
Yep.
So, he has the potential to be good. Boston College has the potential to be good. He just can't be Texans GM Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
All right, he needs to be Penn State head coach Bill O'Brien. If he does that, I think he'll succeed and he'll do good. Boston College has the potential to be a really good college and a really good college football team. He's just gotta.
Sorry.
He's just gotta succeed. I think he can.
Yeah, I think he can, especially at the Boston College of all schools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could possibly turn them around, for all we know, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he got hired as a head coach at a big program, I think the pressure would be there to be good immediately. I
Yeah.
don't feel like that pressure's there necessarily at Boston College to be like
Exactly.
competing for a college football playoff spot this year or even, 2-3 years from now. I think if he can get them to bowl games
I think he's got
and
like 5 years immediately.
yeah, if he can just get to bowl games, I mean, if they're, winning 1 or 2 games a year, that leash gets short real quick. But if
Yeah.
he's getting into bowl games and is just showing steady improvement,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have him as long as he wants to be there.
Exactly. So. Which one do you want to tackle first? Do you want to talk about his replacement over at Ohio State, or do you want to go and tackle the other offense coordinator opening?
We'll do his replacement first and then circle back.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All you.
Obviously, with Bill O'Brien leaving Ohio State as the offensive coordinator, somebody had to fill that spot, and they arguably got a home run hire with Chip Kelly leaving his head coaching position at UCLA to become the new offensive coordinator for Ohio State. Honestly, home run hire. Ohio State looks to be stacked next year on offense, minus the quarterback. The quarterback's kind of a question mark, but they got some studs in the quarterback room.
If they are starting the season with Will Howard, I have questions. If Saban or Aaron Noland win the job, they might have one. That they will be scary then. But they've got all the pieces. It's just getting the right motor in there.
Yes, and I mean, if you look at Chip Kelly's success in college, obviously if you forget about UCLA, which has kind of been a disaster, but he's been looking to leave UCLA for the last 2 years, so what does that say about UCLA? Obviously, at the very least, leaving this season, he obviously didn't see a whole lot of success being in the Big Ten at UCLA. He didn't see a whole lot of future success necessarily. Obviously, he hasn't said that, but something was there.
Yeah, he applied for the University of Cincinnati head coaching job last year, and he was denied it. Like, they're like, yeah, we think we're going to go this way instead. And so he's like, okay, well, I'll go back to UCLA for another year. What does it say that you're trying to leave UCLA to go to be the new head coach of Cincinnati? Like, a relatively new Power 5 program.
Right. I mean, he must have saw something at UCLA that's just, this isn't the place to be. And I guess he just thought there was not going to be success. And obviously he was going to be the scapegoat regardless. If they fail in the Big Ten, he was going to be the scapegoat. So obviously he gets in a pretty good position to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and his offenses have been elite. Usually, even at UCLA, his offense was really good. So, he's definitely in the position with the talent Ohio State has this year to possibly get a head coaching job next year at a different college with the potential to be a little bit more successful. If not, next year, then the year after that, definitely I'd say he's
Yeah.
going to have the potential to get a head coaching job somewhere. So honestly, home run hire. I like it a whole lot more than I like the Bill O'Brien hire.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't complain for Ohio
Yeah.
State.
No, you can't really complain. Like you said, home run hire. Chip Kelly's replacement is Deshaun Foster. So he is a UCLA alum. He's been their running back coach for the past 6 years. This guy hasn't been a coordinator even yet. So we'll see. And the funny thing was everyone's favorite cult leader was the early favorite to be named the new head coach, but he decided to stay over at Minnesota. Or as my cousin's wife would say, Minnesota.
Mm.
So sorry if I offended anyone.
Jeez.
But so we'll see. Maybe it was to keep the culture as close to possible, as close to the same as it possibly could be. But I don't know if Chip Kelly was looking to leave. Maybe this wasn't the right one. We'll see. Moving on to the other big news. Lots of big news over the week. Ryan Grobb, who left Washington with Kalen DeBoer to be the new offensive coordinator for Alabama, has now left Alabama to be the Seattle Seahawks' new offensive coordinator. I don't think any coach, any person blames him for this. It's a chance to go and be a head coach. Well, not a head coach. I don't know. Sorry, people. It's late. Not a head coach, but it's a chance to go and be a coordinator up at the highest level in this sport. So, like, no one's going to blame him. Plus, he gets an off season. He gets a legit off season. That means he's not out having to go and recruit high schoolers and sometimes even middle schoolers, during the summer. And he can go and focus, and he doesn't have to worry about, the players as much because they're grown men at that point. On the timing of this, right?
Yeah. To me, right. I'll get into my feelings on it later, but I'll pose this question to you, right? Is this shady work by Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, or is it just weird timing? Obviously, it was announced that he was leaving about 30 minutes before the 30-day transfer portal window closed for them to, for players at Alabama to transfer out because of the new head coach. Is it just weird timing that this is just when it happened to break, or is this some fudging of the clock, to say that they were trying to basically keep players from finding out so they couldn't transfer away? Okay.
Because look, the players, they, like, the ones who are like, oh, well, I was only going to come back here to stay because I liked what he did, and now all of a sudden he's gone, not even a week or two later after he got here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see that argument, but what people also forget is there's a second transfer portal window after spring games. So you can make that argument. Well, they were probably trying to do this so they can go and recruit. Like, I can see where they're trying to go, and they probably held this out a bit so that, this transfer portal window ends, and that way they can keep them there through spring training, try to recruit them. Basically what happened with Jim Harbaugh and Sharon Moore. Basically, Jim Harbaugh rated his staff, but waited long enough to where Sharon Moore would be able to go and keep these guys during the spring window, up through the spring window, so he could recruit them to stay there. Basically, that's what happened. Which some might call that shady. I don't view it as shady personally. I think that's just smart, because if it's not going to work, then they're going to be gone after the spring training window anyway. So it is what it is. I'm curious to see if Ryan Williams really does love Alabama, if he loved what Grubb brought, or if he loves DeBoer. So we'll see. That's the name to watch out over in Alabama right now. Anyways, they've tapped the tight ends coach, Nick Sheridan. He was tight ends coach over at Washington, came over with DeBoer to be the tight ends coach over at Alabama. Now all of a sudden he's new offensive coordinator. So there is that. A slight little fun fact about him: he's son of Will Sheridan. Is it Will Sheridan or is it Bill Sheridan? Technically, William is short for Bill, or Bill is short for Will, but I think it's Will Sheridan if I remember correctly. No, Will Sheridan is a Bill Sheridan. Bill, not Will. Will Sheridan's a basketball player. But, yeah, just completely off. But to be fair, Bill is short for William. So,
yeah,
like, I can be forgiven on that one, I feel like. If not, oh well. Anyways, Bill Sheridan, he was the he's also a coach. He coaches the opposite side as his son, Nick. Nick was a quarterback over at Michigan. Bill has been the defensive coordinator for 2 NFL teams. His longest stint was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 2011 or 2012 to 2013. So about 2 years. But his first stint was in 2009 as the defense coordinator for the New York Giants. The year before, he won Super Bowl ring with them as their linebackers coach. So, the guy's been coaching forever. He's currently, what was it, the Renegades, I think. He's going to be linebackers coach for one of the teams in that new spring league, that the XFL and USFL formed. UFL, I think. UFL. Anyways, so he's going to be linebackers coach for one of those teams, so he's still coaching. So Nick does come from a pretty good pedigree, I'd say. We'll see. This is DeBoer's offense being run through Sheridan, so I think it was a good hire in the sense of you're keeping the culture as close to the same as possible. But, sorry, I just went off on a freaking tangent there.
No, you're fine. I mean, yeah, I like the hire. I mean, like you said, it's DeBoer's offense, so there's no reason to go out and get like a big name guy to go be your offensive coordinator when they're not really going to be running it anyways. So, in the end, it makes the most sense. Moving on to our next topic. Kirk Herbstreit has another college fan base mad at him. Shocker. Who would have expected it?
Not really.
Obviously, no. I mean, obviously, the news first broke that Dylan Raiola's father said in an interview that whenever news had broke that Dylan Raiola was looking at flipping from Georgia to Nebraska, Kirk Herbstreit had called him and said, "Hey, if he's going to do it, do it. He should do it. You know, if this is true, he should do it. He should go to Nebraska." And obviously, Georgia fans were quite mad that Kirk Herbstreit basically tampered and told this kid, yeah, he should leave Georgia and go to Nebraska. Then Kirk Herbstreit responded and said, "No, not true at all. It's not what I said. All I told him was that Matt Rule was a good head coach and that he thought Matt Rule would turn around Nebraska."
So apparently Dominic Raiola, Dylan Raiola's father, embellished a bit.
A lot. He embellished a lot.
He was facetious. I was being facetious about it, but yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
He embellished a lot. So instead of what that being said, like what he said being true, he called Herbstreit and was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Herbstreit is like, "Yeah, no, Matt Rule's a good coach. Y'all make a decision. Bye."
Right.
So
Right.
like, I think it was just like a lot of people were ready to jump on him already after some of the comments he had made about Florida State.
Yeah.
And
And, I think people are kind of looking for a reason, like you said. So
it's
people need
Kirk.
to pump the brakes. Yeah. I mean, he's
He's
a
getting called
TV
a homer.
personality.
Sorry.
He's a TV personality, and
Yeah.
he says very hot takey things sometimes because it's his job, and he has his opinions, and he's entitled to those opinions, whether they're right or wrong or stupid.
Yeah. Or smart.
Or smart. Sometimes they are smart. I can't say all of his opinions are dumb. Some of them are pretty good, but
Yep.
I mean, people need to pump the brakes a little bit. Obviously, like you said, Dominic Raiola basically just lied about everything in that story. I don't think anything he said was true. So,
Yeah. Throw someone else under the bus so you and your family look good.
yeah,
It's stupid, but it is what it is. We're grasping at straws on that one. Uh,
yeah,
Moving on to our second to last topic. That's right.
yes.
Um, we are going to go through ESPN's newly released, way too early, top 25. So I'm going to read
Yes.
these off, and I want you to go and give me your reaction. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
So, starting at number 1, Georgia.
Okay.
Number 2, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Number 3, Oregon.
Okay. I could see that. Yeah.
Number 4, Texas.
Yeah.
5, Notre Dame.
That's high.
It really is high.
I seem like top 15, maybe top 10, but
I
I
say
see him
top.
more closer to 15.
I see them
I see
more
him right at 15, really.
I see them more closer to 16, 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. 5 seems way high.
Yeah, like whoever ranked them probably was, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the next team I think is better than them. Ole Miss is number 6.
Yeah. I think it's a little high for Ole Miss, but still, they're better than Notre Dame. I'm thinking 7, 8, 9, maybe 10.
Look at the transfer portal they had this year. The guys they
Yeah.
brought in.
Yeah, I still think there's some teams that are a little bit better than them. I'm not. There's nothing against Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is a really good team. I
Mm-hmm.
think they have the potential to make the playoffs this year. I just don't think they're 6. I think there are teams that are better than them.
2 at number 7.
Mm, I mean, they're good. They lost a lot of defense though. I don't know
Yeah,
if they're 7. Again, it's one of those 10 to 15 type of teams. I think.
he ranked one spot too high. That's just my opinion. I think they'd be good at number 8.
Yeah.
What's that kid's name? Williams. No, Williams Noweri?
Noir.
In-state kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever his last name is, they're
Yeah.
keeping him in state. That's probably a guy who could potentially be good enough to start day 1,
Yeah.
and he could be a wrecker on that defense. We don't know. Anyways, number 8, Penn State. I think this is a bit high.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say somewhere around 10.
Yeah.
Number 9, Alabama.
It's a little low. A little low. I'm thinking probably 6, 5, maybe. They definitely deserve to be over Notre Dame.
Yes. No, well, to be fair, Notre Dame shouldn't be that high in general.
I think they should be above Ole Miss, personally. they're like neck and neck. Really, I see them and Ole Miss being like neck and neck. They could be like they could be probably 5, 6, 7. One of those, in that range, both of them.
Here's what I'll say, right? If it was up to me, first off, Notre Dame wouldn't be top 5, obviously. They'd probably be 16 or 17, and that would slide Ole Miss up, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. You've got yours, and people watching this have theirs. I'd slide Ole Miss up to 5. I would have Alabama be in at number 6, Mizzou. Then at that point, I'm fine with Mizzou at 7, Penn State at 8.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that. I wouldn't hate that. No.
Like I said, that's just my opinion. Anyways, so I think we both kind of agree they're ranked a bit low. The next one is Utah at number 10.
That's a slippery slope, right? Obviously, they got Cam Rising returning for his whatever year, 8th, 9th, 10th year.
6th
right.
or 7th.
Too many years. It's so hard to keep
Injuries.
up with how many years somebody. I know it's just so hard now with the COVID years, and you never know.
Yeah.
You can have a dude that's been there 5 years. It's a junior. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But I think they're a little high. Yeah, I know. I'm back. So, continue.
You cut out after a little high. There might be a little high when it comes to Utah.
Oh, Utah. Yeah, I think it could be a little high. I don't know. It's a slippery slope because obviously Cam Rising is returning, so that has potential to be really good offense. They're in the Big 12. They could be good this year. The Big 12 isn't really super stacked anymore. But yeah, it could be. It's about there or about. It's in that range.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to number 11, Arizona. This one I'm iffy on. I think maybe top 15 with talent, especially at quarterback. But I'm curious what losing Jedd Fisch does to them.
Yeah. I think it's probably about right. I mean, they don't necessarily deserve to be any higher. It's probably just about right. Maybe you could flip them in Utah. I feel like Arizona's a really talented team. But again, the big question is, what is it going to be like without Jedd Fisch? So that's obviously a huge question. So that's probably about right for now. They could maybe be a little lower, a little higher. Talent-wise, they could be a little higher. So
I'd say if Jedd Fisch was still there, top 10 easily. That's just my opinion, though. So, moving on to number 12, LSU Tigers.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with this one, especially right now because we don't know what that defense is going to look like.
Yeah. Obviously, the defense was the main concern last year, and the reason they lost some of the games they did, their defense just wasn't there. They had an elite offense. Obviously, they're losing Malik Neighbors. They're losing Brian Thomas Jr. They're losing Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
They still got Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's potential to be a really good quarterback.
Nussmeier, when he is gotten to play, he's looked great.
Yeah, he has potential to be a really great quarterback. So, yeah. I think it could be good depending on where that defense is.
Number 13. You kind of sneaked a peek at this one earlier before we started recording.
Yeah.
Michigan. Thoughts?
Obviously, losing Harbaugh is a big part of this, but still, that team is still a good team. The question is, can Sherrone Moore continue coaching the way that Harbaugh did?
I guess.
And for those wondering why I'm just saying Harbaugh, I can't remember which Harbaugh coaches which half the time.
John Harbaugh's the Ravens.
It's Harbaugh. Thank you. Can never remember which Harbaugh is which, so I just call him Harbaugh. And I hope you know which one I'm talking about.
Jim is over at the Chargers now as their head coach. And his son, Jay, is now the special teams coordinator for Seattle.
Great. 3 of them. Great.
Technically,
All starting with J's. Great.
Yep. Yep. Anyway, number 14, Oklahoma.
I mean, they lost Dylan Gabriel. They have Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold, arguably a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel. Still remains to be seen. But talent-wise, he has the upside to be a better quarterback.
Let me double check something real quick, but
I think it's about right. They has potential to be a little bit higher, but in the SEC, their first year in the SEC with a first-year starting quarterback, it could get nasty. So it's probably about right.
I mean, if all else fails, if Jackson Arnold doesn't turn out to be the guy, they can always lean on General Booty.
Is that what you were checking to see if he was still on the team?
Yes.
Okay. Jesus, General Booty.
Anyways, moving on. 15, Florida State.
Yeah. That's low. But they lost a lot. But that's low. That's low.
DJU's going to be their quarterback this year.
Yeah.
In a Norvell system.
They need to be at least top 10, I think.
Preseason wise, yeah, I can see it. But they're probably also punishing them for what happened in the Orange Bowl, which is, we'll say. Moving on. 16, Tennessee.
High.
I would make the argument, right? I would say possibly, if they were to play Michigan right now, I think I'd favor Tennessee.
In all seriousness, all jokes aside, Tennessee has the potential to be really good, depending on how this investigation goes and how everything goes in court. Yeah, how the lawsuit and everything goes. Depending on how all that goes, and if Nico is still starting quarterback for Tennessee, they have potential to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
So in all reality, this is probably about right.
Yeah.
But that caveman DNA inside me, that Georgia, that good old Georgia boy, I could high. They need to be out of the top 25.
Any Northwestern Georgia boy has a special heart or a special place in their heart that is filled with nothing but malice towards Tennessee fans.
Absolutely. And that stupid field. And too many injuries.
And the song.
God. Speaking of the song.
No.
Speaking of the song.
No.
Hold on. I think I still have it. I do.
Please don't.
You just brought it up, and I felt like it was. I've never got an opportunity to play it on here before.
I thought you played it when we were picking the Tennessee-Alabama game.
No, I picked Alabama.
Fair enough. I thought you would pick Tennessee.
No, I picked Alabama.
Anyways.
I think I did.
Maybe. I hope.
I don't remember. That was forever ago.
Weeks, months ago.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Number 17, Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy. So, I mean, I guess.
Yeah. If you told Mike Gundy that it was any bit low, if they deserved to be any lower, he'd tell you to pick on a man your own size. Pick on him. He's a grown man. So I'm gonna avoid that and just say yes, this is right.
So I'm not going to avoid it. I'm going to actually swerve right into it, and I'm going to say, hey,
Ooh,
if I'm a player and my coach backs me up like that,
I mean, yeah,
loyalty.
I can't fault it.
No. I mean,
He's a great dude. It's a hilarious meme, almost as hilarious as that Coastal Carolina coach talking about cats and dogs. Um, but I can't fault it. It's
no.
awesome, actually, that he's willing to
Yeah.
defend his players, obviously, to the media. So
Yeah.
I can't hate on it. It's just a meme.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, it really is. Number 18, NC State.
Nah, that's too high.
Too high.
Too high.
Okay. Uh,
Thinking our way too early. We both had him like 20. I think you didn't have him in your top 25 at all, and I had him
I
like
might have
25.
actually. Wait, I think I've got the history of those. Hunter's way too early. Top 25. I had. Yeah, no, they were outside of it. I didn't have them in. Now, here's a real question: did I go and write down yours? I don't think I wrote.
I had 22. Item 22.
Yeah, I did not have them. Okay, yeah. Nope. No, I did not have them ranked. So, I think we're both a little bit high for them.
Yeah.
What's been the major change? Grayson McCall finally going to be their quarterback.
Yeah.
Eh.
I mean, he's a good quarterback, but I don't know if he's an elite quarterback.
Yeah. Moving on. Not much else to add to that one.
Yeah.
Moving on. Clemson is at number 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's try to rapid fire these next few because it is getting a little bit long for this one. Number 20, K State.
Yeah.
I'd say a little bit low for them, actually.
Yeah.
I could see them
They
beating.
deserve to be there. I mean,
I could see them beating Clemson or NC State, honestly.
yeah.
Oklahoma State as well. Maybe not on that one. I don't know. Toss up. 21, Louisville.
High.
High.
Okay.
Okay. 22, Kansas.
That's, yeah. About right.
23, Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Maybe a little high.
Maybe. 24,
I think they're
Miami.
a fringe top 25. Ooh, Miami 20. Ooh. High.
High.
Unfortunately, as much as I don't want to say that, high. There's a special place for Miami in my heart, but no. High.
I'm indifferent on it. 25, Texas A&M.
High. About as high as you could possibly get.
Fair enough. So that's realistically ESPN's way too early top 25 and our thoughts on it.
Yep. To move on to another big piece of ESPN news, obviously. ESPN and the college football playoff have come to a $7.8 billion 6-year media rights extension. So basically, what that means is ESPN will have the rights to all of the college football playoff games for the next 6 years. That does not mean that they have to broadcast every game. They can sell the rights to, say, the semifinal games to Fox or CBS or whoever, but they now have the rights to those games for the next 6 years. So it is up to them whether they want to broadcast it or they want to sell those rights to some of those games for a certain year. So obviously, I mean, obviously that's all we've ever known is ESPN broadcasting college football playoff games. So I mean, they're always normally pretty good. I mean, I can't complain about them realistically. It's going to be, I feel like they're going to have to sell some of them at least this year, maybe the first couple of rounds, because especially the first round with, what is it, how many games going on in the first round this year?
12 teams, 4.
Yeah, first four get a bye, so
6 games, 3 games, right? No,
four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, four.
4 games. Yeah, 4 games.
There's 4 games and then another 2, and then no, it's 4, then 4, then 2, then 1. There's 4 rounds now, so there'll be a 4 game round, another 4 game round, a 2 game round, and the national championship.
Mm.
I would assume ESPN will keep the national championship.
Obviously,
they're not going to sell the rights to that, but
no,
I could see them selling some of the the first round and the second round games maybe, and then the semifinals and the national championship. I think they'll keep, but obviously it's massive news. Obviously, it's what the face of the college football playoffs is going to be ESPN pretty much for the next 6 years. So,
yeah, fair enough.
I mean, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, you like it, you hate it, indifferent?
Indifference. It's more the same. So, I mean, not much to add on it that you haven't already said. Realistically,
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all we've ever known. So it's not like this is a, ooh, how's this going to change? It's a, yeah, basically everything you've seen for the last 6 years, or 10 years. Oh God, how many years has the playoffs been around? 2014.
2014 was the first one won by Ohio State.
About 9 years.
9, 10, yeah.
9 years.
9 years of this iteration, and it's going to keep going. So, I mean,
yeesh. College football has changed
a lot.
Oh, oof. All right. Well, now it's time to get into everybody's favorite segment, Yeet or No Yeet. For those of you who don't know, I'll explain it a little bit. I'm going to give Hunter a scenario. He's going to say yeet or no yeet. Yeet being he thinks it'll happen. No yeet meaning he does not think it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll jump right into it. Number 1, LSU will make the playoffs this year. I told you it's a layup. It doesn't seem like a layup from your reaction.
No, because I don't know how that defense is going to be. If the defense goes back to what it was 2 years ago, then yes, then yeet. If it's not, though, then no yeet. Brian Kelly did a complete and utter overhaul of the defensive staff. There might be some football karma in that, so I'll say no yeet.
All right. Number 2, Virginia Tech will be the worst team in the ACC this year.
Let's see, what other teams are there? Virginia, Boston College. I'll say no yeet.
Okay.
Because
who do you think will be the worst?
Probably Virginia. Like, I mean, Stanford's a possibility too now.
Yeah. SMU's in there.
No, SMU might actually.
Cal.
Who?
Cal.
Oh yeah, Cal. Yeah, no, Virginia, no yeet. Virginia Tech ain't gonna be the worst team. No, God.
So you thought about it. For those of you who don't know, I find these yeets or no yeets. Some of them I come up with. Some of them I search the message boards, and obviously you can tell this one came off of a Virginia message board. All the Virginia fans are like, "Oh, we're not going to be the worst team in the ACC this year. It's going to be Virginia Tech." I went, "Yes, please. I'm putting this in there."
I hate to say that because, like I've said on this podcast before, one of my former high school teammates is the quarterbacks coach over at Virginia, but ain't no way Virginia's going to be better than Virginia Tech. I don't see it. And
I don't
I
either.
hope I'm proven wrong. I don't
But
see it right now, though.
I got you.
Sorry, Taylor.
Number three. Boise State will go undefeated in the regular season and make the playoffs this year.
What's Boise State's record? Or not record, but schedule?
I have no idea.
Now I'm having a...
I have no idea. I didn't look up their schedule before.
Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and put that in with... Gosh dang it, Bonner.
I just went with it. It sounded good. I like Boise State.
Yeah, if
it's
you're
possible.
talking about a decade ago, yeah.
Didn't they play in the national championship like
No.
a decade? Like,
They played in
They
the
played-
Fiesta Bowl.
oh, it was a Fiesta Bowl, wasn't it?
When they beat...
Didn't they win?
Yeah, they upset Oklahoma and Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. First game. Now you're set. No, they're not going to go undefeated because their second game's at Oregon. No yeet.
Of course it's at Oregon.
No.
Of course.
Now we're running through it. Now we're running through the schedule. You've done this to yourself. At Georgia Southern. Loss.
At Georgia Southern?
The only reason why I say a loss for Georgia Southern is because it's at Georgia Southern. Could be a toss-up if it's at Boise State.
Okay.
But the travel, At Oregon. Loss. There goes your undefeated season.
Whoops.
Portland State.
Maybe I see.
2 weeks left. They have a bye before the money game. They're going to need it after playing Oregon, let's be honest.
Yeah.
God. Portland State, and then the rest of the dates are to be determined, but other games they are having to play this upcoming year. Oregon State lost.
Oh.
Nevada, San Diego State, Utah State, Washington State. Ooh, a trip to Hawaii to play Hawaii.
Okay.
At San Jose State, at UNLV, and at Wyoming. No, they're not. No yeet. They're not going undefeated. They're not winning. No.
I would like to change my yeet. It's a retroactive yeet. Notre Dame will make the playoffs this year.
No yeet.
Okay, I would like to retroactively change this sheet one more time.
Why?
The Atlanta Braves will make the World Series this year.
Dear God, yeet.
Okay.
And screw the Phillies.
Yeah, there you go. I had to throw one in there for you. Number 4. Arizona will win the Big 12 this year, even without Jedd Fisch. Really, Utah is your biggest threat. Maybe Colorado.
No, not Colorado. I've got a yeet or no yeet for you involving Colorado, actually. After I get done with these.
Makes you feel better. This was going to be Colorado will win the Big 12, but you told me you had a Colorado one beforehand, so I didn't put Colorado in. I went with Arizona instead.
You could have said that. I should have been more specific. Mine has more to do with Shedeur and Travis Hunter.
Oh, I see. Oh, well.
Colorado as a whole, yes, but anyways. I'll say, Utah is a big threat. UCF with KJ Jefferson all of a sudden is a threat. No yeet.
Okay.
If Jedd Fisch was still there, yeet. No yeet though. Right now,
Okay. And our bonus yeet, as it has become a tradition over the last week.
You mean our third?
It is now a tradition. Yeet? Is it a third bonus sheet? Oh, I had 2 bonus sheets last week.
No.
Oof.
No. As in,
Oh, I mean, technically, I did have 3 bonus sheets. This is my third, technically. I apologize.
yes, because you changed the yeets.
I apologize for our third bonus sheet. Georgia will be the highest rated team in the new college football video game.
Yeet.
You think yeet?
And the reason I say that is because if they're going based off next year's rosters, which they should be, the thing that's going to hold Alabama back from being the highest rated team is going to be Kalen DeBoer as the head coach. If Nick Saban was still the head coach, they might have them rated above Georgia. Now, granted, you could also go and make the argument that Ohio State might be rated higher than them, but
that's what I was going to say would be maybe Ohio State.
Maybe, but Georgia's going to be rated higher than them.
Okay, now what is your yeet as we turn the tables here?
Yeet or no yeet, Colorado currently has the top 2 overall picks for the 2025 draft on their roster.
No yeet.
Yeah, I agree. But if you ask Primetime, Shador and Travis are 1 and 2 in next year's draft.
Talent-wise, Travis Hunter is probably the best player coming into the draft next year.
Overall, yes, but depending on what a team needs.
I think, yeah, I could see Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, there's just if the top end of the draft needs quarterbacks, I could see the top, first 3 picks being any order of Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck, and Quinn Ewers. Any order. I mean, I don't know.
I'm of a complete different mindset. Sorry for cutting you off. I'm of a complete different mindset. I think there is a clear gap between Beck, Ewers, and the rest of the quarterbacks next year.
Probably.
I think Shedeur Sanders might be in the top 5 quarterbacks, but you gotta be kidding me if you think he's one of the top 2. I'm sorry. I
don't know if he's top 2
because
I could see
it's interchangeable between Beck and Ewers for me.
Ewers and Beck, yeah. I'm not saying talent-wise he's as good as those 2. I think some team could possibly take a chance on him over the other 2. Just because you know how the NFL is. You know how drafts are. I mean...
Yeah, but...
who was the quarterback that the Broncos drafted like 4 years ago? He's not in the NFL anymore. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about.
I think so. From Mizzou?
I don't think he was from Missouri.
No.
What's his name?
No. Drew Lock?
Not Drew Lock.
Yeah, he's over at Seattle. Never mind. He got traded over there for Russell Wilson. Paxton Lynch?
Paxton Lynch.
Yeah, that was more than 4 years ago, but I was still in college when he got drafted.
Really? God,
yeah.
That was forever ago.
Yeah, so that was about 8.
I mean, so obviously, if a team likes a quarterback, specifically, maybe it fits their play style, I could see somebody taking Shedeur Sanders in the top 3. If they just like him for whatever reason. I'm not saying talent-wise he's as good as Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck, but talent-wise, I think Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck are 1A and 1B. Then Shedeur Sanders is probably in that 3 to 5 range.
I think it depends.
I don't think Travis Hunter could go first overall if the number 1 team in the draft already has a quarterback. Probably should.
My whole thing is the number 1 team typically is either going after a quarterback, a defensive player, typically a D lineman, or an offensive lineman.
Theoretically, yeah.
So I don't see Travis Hunter being a number 1 overall pick. And
he deserves to be top 5 at least.
Yeah, talent-wise, yes. First rounder all the way. Maybe not top 5. So then you also have to get into the argument of the NFL team that gets him. Are they going to have him play both ways? Probably not. They're probably going to have
Is
him
he going to play wide receiver, DB? What is he going to be playing?
So the real question is, what are they going to draft him as? Because depending on what they would draft him as, because one team might view him as a wide receiver and another one might view him as a defensive back. The one that views him as a defensive back might view him as a second or third round pick as a defensive back, but the team that wants him as a wide receiver might view him as one of the top wide receivers in the game.
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah, either way, no yeet. I don't think that they have the first and second overall pick in the draft. So yeah, that's it. Hope everybody had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
I'm
tired.
I'm gonna be awake for the next 4 hours so I can stay up to watch the Mercedes F1 car launch. They're launching the way their car is going to look next year, so I'm going to stay up for the next 4 hours to watch that. So
might as well get that in.
Yeah, might as well. Right. So,
with all that being said, I guess I'll kind of sort of sign us off. Hit the like button. The thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. Click on that little all, and that way you know when we're putting out our videos and everything. And just remember, everyone, on any given day, anything can happen on any given play. So we'll see you on the next play.